This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Alrighty, yes, sir. All right, when sports and business collide, baby, it becomes very interesting. And I got to tell you something. I got to give hockey a lot of credit because unlike baseball, and baseball looked like it was a dying sport, and it's kind of a dying sport. It really is. It is kind of a dying sport. It doesn't look like interest is actually growing overall. But when you look at hockey, man, I got to tell you, it's pretty interesting what's happened with hockey as the NHL ends up getting to $1 billion in ad revenue, which is pretty interesting because you would think, okay, wait a minute, hold on a second. So you look at the NHL and it starts getting to, sick numbers when it comes to producing record revenue. And this year, by the way, their total revenue is going to pass $5.2 billion. It's pretty cool. Bettman said in his annual State of the League that the finals and the league will surpass $5.2 billion. We were able to stabilize the business and power through. Didn't mean that at times there weren't challenges. Didn't mean at times that we didn't have to adjust. Some of you on occasion said we were making it up and we went along, and we were, but we didn't have to do it to get through it. The league generated $4.6 billion in its last normal full season in 18-19 before the pandemic wreaked havoc on sports. Now it has gone up to $5.2 billion. The financial increase stems from new U.S. media right deals with ESPN and Turner Sports that went into effect this season. The salary cap is projected to go up $1 million to $82.5 million next year. So you think about it, it's pretty cool that the NHL ends up growing here. And let me tell you something. When you look at the business in general, okay, of the NHL, this is one of those things that you're like, okay, wait a minute, hold on a second. So you're now growing to the point, and listen to this, okay? We're going to add another $1 billion of gross revenue in the very near future, Wirtz said. And we're talking about Rocky Wirtz, the chairman. The CBA is going long-term 10 years, opts out for the league and players after 8, and now the focus is on growth. I'm extremely happy about the NHL. Along with the $1 billion vision in the first year under the new collective bargaining agreement, according to sources, as the team league levels, the NHL informed the league of the Audit and Finance Committee as a meeting on June 10th that the league projects in bringing in an additional $1 billion in cumulative revenue over the next 3 years. So they're continuing to grow their revenue streams, which is actually a really cool thing for the NHL. And you think about it, in the future, this is one of those sports that has a lot of potential to grow as an indoor sport, as an international sport, because there's a lot of countries that play hockey. So you're going to have talent. You're going to have an infusion of talent from all over the world, kind of like what you do with soccer. We don't have that in football, right? We get it in basketball. We get it a little bit in baseball because there are some countries that play it. Basketball is obviously a hell of a lot more countries, and soccer, every country pretty much plays soccer. So it's on different levels. And that's one of the things that they have an advantage over. It's fast. It's physical. It's a fun sport. You go live to a hockey game, and it is a completely different experience. Once you go live, I think that's when you ultimately get hooked to hockey. Because personally, it is the best live sport there is out there. All the other sports were made for television. Hockey was made to be live. And I know years ago they had that red thing that whatever they called it that tracks the puck or whatever. And I'm sure they'll try to come up with other things to try to make the game a little bit more, I don't know, visual. But it's nice to see that it's growing, because if you really think about it, UFC has grown so much, right? It's past boxing. Boxing is still great, and boxing can still have fantastic events, but they're few and far between. Whereas UFC comes up with it all the time, but it's a physical sport. And we love that. We love that since the days of the Roman gladiators. That's just the way our world is. That's why hockey has that potential. So if they're able to raise their revenue on the business end, on attendance, on TV deals, all of those things, that's one of those sports that, unlike, let's say, baseball and golf, which seem to be going the other way, hockey's one of those that still has a chance to actually build back up again and become bigger. I don't know if baseball could ever recapture anything that it had in the past ever again. It's not fast enough. It's not entertaining enough. But young people can fall in love with hockey. That's the kind of sport that they can get behind. Baseball, whew, that's going to be fun.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.